have you ever been uh, right in the middle of talking in English, or maybe you just finished studying, and then bam, the word you need just completely disappears, like totally gone. Or maybe you see a word, read it, understand it perfectly fine, but then when you actually try to use it, no, it just won't come out. If that sounds, well, frustratingly familiar, believe me, you are definitely not alone. It happens to everyone, beginners, advanced learners, doesn't matter. But what if there was a smarter way, a more reliable method to make those English words stick around for the long term? Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today. We're doing a deep dive into some really fascinating ideas from the materials you sent us, all about cementing those words in your memory.
It's true. Our brains are amazing, but they definitely have their own ways of working when it comes to remembering things. So for this deep dive, yeah, we're not just going to list off techniques. We want to explore the why. Like, why do our brains forget stuff? And more importantly, how do they actually hold on to new information best? Especially vocabulary. The mission today is basically to uncover some really effective, practical strategies for long-term memory.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that first bit. Why do we forget English words so easily? It really does feel like they just vanish sometimes, right? A lot of us bump up against this thing called the forgetting curve. Our brains, you see, are kind of, well, they're actually wired to forget things, especially things that aren't repeated or, actively used. Think of your memory like a huge library, massive. The books you read often, they stay right there on the easy to reach shelves, always handy, always accessible.
But the others, the ones you haven't touched in ages, they get shuffled off to the back, maybe the dusty archives, or sometimes they just get cleared out to make space. Yeah, it's like an optimization thing the brain does, not like a personal flaw. And it's interesting, beyond just not repeating things, forgetting often happens for a few other key reasons too. One big one is trying to learn way too much at once. Trying to memorize like 50 words in a day. That can actually backfire. It just overwhelms your brain.
Right, too much input.
Exactly. And another big factor is learning words just on their own, without any context or real-life situation attached. If a word is just, like a definition on a flashcard, disconnected from your actual life,
Yeah,
your brain doesn't have much to grab onto.
makes sense.
And it kind of leads to the third point, not making personal connections. Our brains really like to link new stuff to things that matter to us.
Okay, so if our brains are sort of designed to forget, how do they remember things effectively then? What makes stuff stick? Well, it turns out our brains really, really love patterns and repetition, obviously, but also emotions and visuals, big time. Think about learning a new word just once. That's maybe like creating a tiny little path in your brain, really faint.
Easily overgrown.
Yeah, exactly. But if you use that word regularly, consistently, well, that path turns into a highway, a superhighway even. The more you use it, the stronger that connection, that neural pathway gets, more accessible.
And this brings up a really vital point. It's a fantastic tip from the material, actually. Always try, if you can, to connect a new word to something you already know. Or even better, something you love.
Oh, interesting.
So take the word delicious. Instead of just the definition, maybe you really love your mom's biryani. Connect them. You think, my mom's biryani is delicious. Now suddenly, that word isn't just abstract. It's got this personal, emotional hook. And that makes it way, way stickier in your mind because you're tying it into existing strong memories, positive feelings.
That makes so much sense. Using what's already strong in your memory. Now, before we get into all the specific how-to techniques, there's something really fundamental we need to understand first. It really changes how you think about vocab. And that's the difference between your active and your passive vocabulary.
Oh, absolutely crucial. Yeah, let's break those down. So passive vocabulary. Basically, that's all the words you understand when you read them or hear them, but they don't quite make it into your own speaking or writing yet. You recognize them, no problem, like the example of the source.
Yeah.
Maybe you read the word complicated and you totally get it, but you probably never just naturally use it in a conversation.
Okay.
It's kind of like having a huge closet full of clothes you like looking at, but you only actually wear a few favorite outfits.
Gotcha. So what's active vocabulary then?
Active vocabulary, well, those are the words you can use comfortably,
Mhm.
confidently. When you're speaking or writing, they just come to you naturally, without a huge effort. They're ready to go.
Right. Those are the ones we want more of. So the big question then is, how do we move words from that passive pile, the ones hiding in the back of the closet, into the active group, the ones we can actually pull out and use whenever we need them?
Yeah, that's what everyone wants to know.
The strategies we looked at have some really clear actions. It boils down to this. You have to consciously use them in sentences. You got to actually speak them out loud. Don't be shy about talking to yourself, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Write them down in a journal, maybe. And, this is key, make an effort to think in English using those words.
Right. It's like exercising a muscle, isn't it? You got to work it to make it stronger.
Yeah,
Moving from just recognizing to actually producing.
exactly. And speaking of working those muscles, let's jump into some really powerful practical techniques, the ones that actually make words stick. These aren't just, theories. These are strategies that the sources really emphasize, things you can start doing like right now.
Okay, let's hear them.
First one that really stands out is chunking words into groups. This is all about putting similar words together, maybe based on a theme. So, for example, if you're learning kitchen words, you'd group knife, spoon, plate, stove, all together.
Okay, thematic grouping.
Yeah. The idea is your brain remembers things better when they're connected. It's like creating a little mental category. It's apparently more efficient than just random words.
That makes sense. It mirrors how we naturally organize information, right?
Mm.
Categories and connections.
Yeah.
Much easier to recall a whole set.
Totally. Okay, method number 2. Using visuals and mind maps. This means actually drawing little pictures or creating mind maps for new words. And the best part, you really don't need to be an artist. Stick figures, simple shapes, whatever works for you.
Hey, good news for me then.
Right. So if you're learning cat, maybe draw a quick cat shape and connect it to words like fur, meow, whiskers, tail. Those visuals create really strong, like, multisensory anchors in your memory, makes the word more tangible.
Visual hooks are powerful, definitely.
Next up, creating word families. This one's clever. You take one main word, the root word, and then you actively learn all its different forms. So maybe you start with happy, then you look for happiness, unhappy, happily.
Ah, so you learn the whole family at once.
Exactly. That way you're not just learning one isolated word, you're efficiently grabbing like 4 or 5 words based on one core idea. You see how they connect and change.
Yeah, that's super efficient for expansion.
Hmm.
You see the patterns, the prefixes, suffixes, much better than treating each one as totally new.
For sure. And here's one I found really eye-opening. The power of learning in real-life sentences. So instead of just memorizing umbrella on its own, learn it inside a full natural sentence, like, I carry an umbrella when it rains.
Context is key.
Totally, because that way you're learning not just the meaning, but how it's actually used, the grammar around it, the situation, all in one go. You absorb it functionally.
That makes a huge difference for actually using the word later. You already know how it fits.
Okay, moving on. This one might sound a bit weird, but teaching someone else, like pretend you're a teacher. Explain a new word to a friend, your sibling.
What?
Heck, even talk to your reflection in the mirror.
Huh. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Why did that work?
Because when you have to explain something, to articulate it clearly, you're actively retrieving that information, organizing it in your head, and really solidifying it. It forces you to understand it deeply enough to teach it. It's a really powerful form of active recall.
That's a great point. Teaching forces clarification in your own mind. It shows you where the gaps are, too.
Exactly. And finally, a technique that seems to be a real favorite, storytelling. This is where you get to be creative. You make up a silly, memorable story using your new word.
Okay, like what?
Well, the example was, if you learn the word gigantic, you could invent a little story like, I saw a gigantic dosa. It was so big I had to use 2 plates.
Huh. I like that. Gigantic dosa. And, the key there often isn't just any story. Often the sillier or more absurd it is, the better it sticks.
Really? Why silly?
Our brains are wired to notice things that are unusual, novel, or have some emotional kick. Stories connect emotions, visuals, meaning. They engage multiple parts of your brain. And something really absurd, that creates a stronger memory imprint. It stands out.
A gigantic dosa definitely stands out.
Exactly. Now, building on those really practical techniques, let's talk about optimizing your whole learning routine, because consistency is huge. And one of the absolute gold standard strategies here is spaced repetition.
Ah, yeah, I've heard of that. Anki and stuff.
Precisely. But it's not just about reviewing randomly. It's a very specific method designed to push words from your short-term into your long-term memory. Instead of cramming, you space out your reviews at increasing intervals. So a typical schedule might look like review a word on day 1, then again on day 2, then maybe day 4, day 7, day 14, something like that.
Okay.
You can use apps like Anki or Quizlet. They handle the schedule for you. Or just a simple flashcard box system works too. The real magic is in those time gaps. They signal to your brain, hey, this is important. Strengthen this memory each time you recall it.
That makes sense. Fighting the forgetting curve directly. And that spaced repetition probably works even better if you also make a real effort to use new words in daily life, even if you don't have someone handy to practice English with all the time.
Right. How can people do that?
Well, you can literally just talk to yourself in English. Like, narrate what you're doing. Okay, now I'm chopping the onions. Simple stuff. Or make it a small habit. Write maybe 3 sentences every day using a couple of new words you learned. You could even label things in your room with sticky notes. Your mirror, your laptop, your chair. Use those words when you see them.
Little reminders everywhere.
Yeah. Or even just try to slip one new word into a WhatsApp message or a voice note to a friend. Every little bit of use helps lock it in.
Absolutely. And to make those words even more memorable, we have mnemonics and associations.
Ah, the memory tricks.
Yeah, those funny or sometimes really weird mental images that help you link a word to something unforgettable, they leverage your brain's creativity. So
Mhm.
for instance, to remember the word bizarre, you could picture a really bizarre market scene. Maybe cows are selling ice cream, just something totally strange.
Okay, that's bizarre.
Or for that classic mix-up, desert versus dessert. The trick is, dessert has 2 S's because you always want seconds.
Oh, that's a good one. I always mix those up.
See? The sillier, the more vivid the image or the connection, generally the stronger the memory becomes. It's about creating a unique mental hook. What ridiculous image could you invent today?
It really is amazing how those silly things stick. Okay, so we've talked a lot about what does work, but it's probably just as useful to quickly highlight some common mistakes to avoid. The sources were pretty clear on a few pitfalls.
Yeah, what should people watch out for?
Well, definitely trying to learn like 50 or more words a day. That seems to be counterproductive. Information overload.
Hmm.
Also, memorizing words completely without any context, just lists of words, doesn't stick well. And maybe the biggest one, being afraid to actually use the words, being scared of making mistakes.
Oh, that fear factor, it's huge.
Uh,
And if we connect that back, mistakes aren't just, part of learning, they're actually how we learn effectively.
Yeah.
Neurologically speaking, making a mistake and then correcting it often creates a stronger memory than getting it right the first time.
Really?
Yeah. It's an active learning moment. Your brain pays more attention. It's not a failure, it's data. So yeah, don't fear mistakes. Use them. They're stepping stones.
That's such a better way to think about it. Really
Uh-huh.
empowering. Okay, so putting all this together, how can someone actually do this without it feeling totally overwhelming? The insights suggested a really simple, effective, like 15-minute daily routine. They called it vocabulary success.
15 minutes. That sounds manageable.
Right. Here's the breakdown. Spend the first 5 minutes reviewing old words. Use your app, your flashcards, whatever system you have, quick recall. Then the next 5 minutes, learn just 3 to 5 new words. That's it. But make sure you're using images or stories with them, like we discussed.
Quality over quantity.
Exactly. And then the final 5 minutes, actively speak or write sentences using those 3 to 5 new words. Put them into action immediately. And then, like a little bonus mission, try to use just one of those new words sometime during your day in a real conversation, a text, anything.
Nice. Focused and actionable.
Yeah, just 15 focused minutes consistently. Apparently, it can make a massive difference over time. I used to feel genuinely bad when I forgot words. Like, oh, my memory is terrible. What's wrong with me?
Mm-hmm. A lot of people feel that way.
But now I realize it's completely normal. Your brain is just doing its job, trying to be efficient. The real power comes from knowing that forgetting is normal, and you just need to proactively review and reuse things. The key, really, from everything we've looked at, seems to be making learning English a consistent habit, not, some giant stressful headache.
Exactly right. And if we zoom out a bit, your English proficiency, it improves one word at a time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So the big takeaways are review regularly, use those words in real life somehow, and, maybe most importantly, make it fun. Make it personal to you. And stay consistent. Keep exploring. Keep using the language. You'll get there.
Definitely. Okay, so to wrap up, here's something to maybe mull over. How might intentionally seeking out just one really silly or bizarre mnemonic device each week, just one, for a word you find particularly tricky, how might that one small, fun habit transform your ability to remember things, not just for English words, but maybe for anything new you want to learn and make truly unforgettable?